Yep.
Okay.
What do we do, what day here?
Right.
Sure. What day is it?
We'll send out reminders, but I think we're gonna.
Oh, you're right,
We're
yeah.
gonna shoot for Tuesday the 19th?
I think Monday, we're gonna shoot for Monday, the 18th at 5:30, but let me check, the room and any other logistics.
We're more important than anybody else.
Okay.
Right, all right.
So we'll aim for Monday, I'll confirm. So,
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is the reconvened Board of Finance budget hearing for the 2019-2020 budget. Thank you for your patience. Sorry for the late start. We had a few housekeeping matters to take care of. Tonight's first item on the agenda, I believe, is Public Library, 4593.
35.
35. We took you up last night.
Yeah.
That's okay.
35.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome to make a statement if you like, otherwise we can.
Sure, I'll just make a very brief statement. I'm Chris Angeli, I'm the director of the Public Library, and the budget that I presented this year is per the mayor's request, flat again as usual. Back in, and I'd just like to say that we're doing an awful lot with the money that has been allocated to us from the city. We offer about 600 programs a year. We have about 20,000 people attend all of those programs cumulatively. Our circulation is up 10%. We've added new programs and services and tried to be really smart how we're allocating the funds. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. You always have one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Yes, the new additions you're putting in there, we're going to have more staff or no?
We are not going to have more staff.
No staff, additional. The other question is on the seasonal temporary, is that for additional people coming in during the summer, or what is that, 100,000?
That is for the staff that we have year-round working part-time in our building. So we have 15 full-time staff, and then the rest of our hours and desk help are staffed by seasonal temp help. So it's often, a lot of times it's a stretch. They cover vacations, they cover desk shifts, they cover time out when full-time staff are out, and it's always a struggle for us. So we just want to make sure that that number is robust enough so that we can keep offering the programs and services that we have.
They're not the people here in your payroll here. Now, how many of those do you have then, roughly, do you have coming in?
Seasonal temp? On the seasonal temp roster, we have about 15 people, but on a regular basis, it's probably about 5 that do most of the hours. Some are just really as fill-ins and substitutes.
Are there additions going on, Colleen?
We received a state grant to renovate our children's department. We're going to be expanding the size, and then we're going to be adding 2 small new rooms. It is definitely in the beginning stage of the process. The contract was just signed by the state.
Are they going to expand the footprint or just all within the?
All within the existing building. Yeah, we'll be expanding into staff spaces. Yeah.
The rate library assistance, I'm assuming it's because of, what do you have on at any individual time? You don't have all 8 library assistants on your payroll? Not all 8? They're all there all day? Every day, rather?
Yes, they all work 37.5 hours a week. So we're open about 50 hours a week. So
Right.
we have varying shifts.
You do?
Between
Okay,
Saturdays,
that's what
evenings, Sunday night. Yeah.
I'm all set.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
God, easy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Probate court, 4133.
26.
Judge Beverly, welcome. How are you?
I got your pages memorized.
He does. He has a cheat sheet. Okay, 26?
26.
Yeah. So I know, we know each other, but I'm Judge Beverly, Director of Policy here. This is the budget for the Milford Orange Probate Court. And just to reiterate from past years, because it's a consolidated court with the town of Orange, our overall budget is shared on a pro rata basis by statute, where the city of Milford pays 75% and the town of Orange pays 25%. So our total budget for the postage, printing, et cetera items included in our request is $23,071, of which we are requesting approval for the city of Milford of the $17,304. Most of our expenditures are paid through the state of Connecticut budgeting, probate fees, and not enough general funding. But the cities are responsible for the kind of the operating supplies, et cetera.
Your fees go where?
So the probate fees are all paid to the state of Connecticut, Treasurer State of Connecticut, and then the probate administration fund pays for all our computer systems, staffing, insurances, et cetera. Those are not municipal obligations.
Okay.
And 17 is Milford portion?
17,304 is Milford, Orange is 5,767.
That's not included in the 17.
No, the total for our budget is $23,071. If you take 75% of that, that's the obligation we're requesting for Milford, and then the balance for Orange. Traditionally, Orange has not actually requested these kind of proceedings. They really defer to what the city of Milford approves, and then once this budget is approved, they just cut the check. I think Peter would know best, but I think twice a year. Sometimes they do it once a year.
Well, they can afford it. We gotta look at our figures. See, up on the farm there, you know.
Does your current courtroom space work?
It is very tight, very challenging. In fact, the mayor and I have talked just about every annual budget session about the constraints of the space. You know, the hearing room is actually my office.
Right.
And it's very challenging. We've considered even having hearings like in this space when we have a large crowd, but we don't have computers up here. I have to bring up staff up here, and the logistics of it is just too challenging. I just don't know where else we would go. We have a vault. The cost of recreating that vault somewhere else in the city, you know, it's fireproof and
What about the former DMV space though? Is that
too small, it's
too
not
small?
adjacent.
It's not adjacent, yeah, I thought it was
No, we have to kick out the registrar of voters
That's not
office, which I've hinted at. They would not be happy with that.
No, it's just a random thought, I couldn't see. You've been in that space for a while and it hasn't really changed.
It's been a challenge, but I just don't know what the alternative is.
It's stop people from dying.
Well, you know, 50% of our cases are actually more social service cases.
Yeah.
Conservatorships and custodies, guardianships of adults with intellectual disabilities. You know, most of my time is spent dealing with living protected persons than trusts and estates these days.
What type of a staff do you have?
I have almost 5 full-time. And then our children's matters are transferred to the Regional Children's Probate Court in New Haven. I'm the administrative judge there, and I have a staff of about 12 there that handles the whole region's children's cases.
Now, those individuals, the 5, they're not, they're lawyers or what are they?
No,
No.
no. Most of them are college graduates. We do not have the workload that would support the finances to have an on-staff attorney. When we consolidated the courts, a lot of that funding was minimized, so I do not have an on-staff attorney.
Okay. Thanks. Good.
Thank you, Lynn. Brett.
Thank you very much.
Great day.
Have a good night.
Thank you. DPLU 4142.
27.
Welcome, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Can I be brief?
Yes, please.
I'm Joe Griffith. I'm the Director of Department of Permitting and Land Use. I'm here representing the offices of the Inland Wetlands, Planning and Zoning, and Building Inspection Division, as well as our office, which oversees those offices. The budget this year is coming in representing a $2,359 decrease under last year's budget. That still includes a $1,400 increase in our salaries per day. So our operational expenses are showing a decrease in $752. As with last year, what we've been doing is consolidating our operational expenses, which are common to the individual offices. We're putting them under one line item under DPLU. As we have been doing, we're leaving certain line items unique to the individual offices, such as gas, so we're able to monitor those separately, postage, and most importantly, advertising, which is the cost of public hearing notices for the various boards. We continue to be up around generating about $1.1 million in fees. It's based on approximately $100 million worth of construction going on in the city on an annual basis. As in prior years, we're looking to continue to upgrade our technology, but I should note that specifically it's not included in this budget. I guess we'd like to be coming in separately, looking for an authorization for expenditure for two things. One is our most immediate need is for the new permitting software, which we're continuing to look at, and we'd like to be pursuing that at some point this year. And then also in 2022, we'll be, in 2022, our plan of conservation and development will be due, and so that is a multi-year process and task. We are kicking off that process this year, and at some point, either through the end of this year or perhaps in next year, we'll be looking to engage a consultant to assist us in putting that plan of conservation and development together. Briefly, in terms of staffing, we have, I think last year we had lost one of our building officials. We actually put in an offer to engage a replacement for that building inspector, and he went off and took a job somewhere else. So what we're opting to do is leave the position open until sometime this fall and then re-advertise for that position. So we're going to be short-handed. We anticipate through the summer months we will be going into our seasonal temp account and hiring a temporary building official through the summer, which is typically our busiest period. I won't go into the details of some of these other things. Do you have any questions?
Thank you for that presentation. Any questions from the board?
Is there any special certification necessary for the inspector's job?
Yeah, building official is licensed by the state of Connecticut.
Licensed by the state.
So they have various levels, and we maintain the highest level of building inspector as opposed to electrical
So you have to
inspector.
find that highest level.
Yes, we have to pay for it.
Which position is open? Is that the A? Yeah, the third one down?
Building inspector A.
A, yeah, the 61,000? Is that what they be?
Yes, that's at the starting rate.
Okay. Oh, very good.
I should note, in making the offer to the gentleman that we were pursuing, we actually got him stepped up to, I think, the highest pay grade, which is, I think it's $71,000, which, and he still went somewhere else.
Good economy right now.
Yeah.
How many many computers do you have? You know, we got one each year, 8,000 last year, well, 5,200 so far this year you spent.
Well, we've got our desktops, and then we've got these various stations. One is out in the hall out there, as well as at each one of the building department and zoning department. I think we have a total of probably 16 desktops, and then another 7 or 8 laptops / tablets that we're dealing with.
So you're replacing these on a regular basis every year?
We're trying to, yes.
All right. Everybody all set? Thank you very much, Jack.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, well, zoning board of appeals, but that's just advertising, I believe.
Yes,
Primarily.
budget.
Yeah, 29.
Page 29, yeah, my mistake. I was looking right at it and moved on. Any questions on
Yeah,
that?
just, what's that other remuneration? I know you probably tell us every year.
I think under that line, we're paying for the clerk to that board, if I'm not mistaken.
Where do you,
This
oh,
is-
no, that's Board of Assessment.
Oh, I've got the wrong
Zoning
one.
Board of Appeals,
Okay.
yeah. So you have secretarial fees and then.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks again. Community development.
20.
Welcome.
Thank you, good evening. So I think this is the first time I've found a little increase.
What?
I know,
Yeah.
forgive me. So just to explain that a little bit, this year we worked quite a bit on developing a tourism website that we saw the need for because there was kind of a mess of where to go and what to do in Milford when people pulled that up digitally. So we are compacting that into one website. And with that website, we don't want it to sit and die. We want to be able to get it out to as many people as possible. And of course, that costs a little bit more to do. And to launch that site, to make sure that it's in the places that it needs to be. That's the reason for the extra $2,700.
That is that under Facebook, Yelp, and all of that, or what?
Well, the site hasn't launched yet. It's going to launch in the spring, but yes, I mean, it's really a pay-to-play kind of process these days. So
Right.
Facebook used to be pretty organic and you can post whatever, but now the more you pay, the more people you reach and the more people that see it.
Right.
So that just costs more money. We're back, you know, a few years ago, no, I'd say probably 10 years ago, you weren't putting that kind of money into having to pay on the Instagrams, the Facebooks. And then we also are talking to some kind of press consultants to help us navigate where they should go. They have an expertise in that digital area that I don't possess, and I want to make sure that the money we do spend, we spend thoughtfully and we reach as many people as possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where this site comes up, is what to do in Milford on the weekend, I think it was.
Yeah, so when you do Google that, you'll get, and it was interesting when we had several people come in to talk to us about creating this website, and one of the visual components they used was they did that, and up on the website came 8 different websites with nothing looked the same. It was a jumbled mess. You really just didn't know where to go. So this is hopefully, you know, you have to pay to be top in Google. So there's costs associated with a lot of those things. But again, there's no sense in creating it if we're not going to put the money in to back it up. We did receive a grant for it through MPI, which also is assisting in the funding. That is paying for the website totally. The website is being done by a resident here at a quarter of the cost that he would do for anybody else. So I think the product that we're getting and what we're going to be able to do for it is going to be much less than it would have been through some other organization.
Is GoDaddy one of those? Yeah.
That would be a host site.
Yeah.
That's not our host. But if you could use GoDaddy
Yeah, right.
as one, sure.
Yeah, she's pretty with the most stuff that's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm all set.
Anything? Well, doing a great job.
Yeah,
Thank you, Brian.
terrific, yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
Oh, we get in LA, lived in, yeah, LA Fitness. Went to the
Oh,
ShopRite.
Planet Fitness at ShopRite.
Planet Fitness is going in there? Oh, I thought it was LA is big in the fall.
Yes.
They're gonna take that whole building?
No, just the portion, the ShopRite portion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still work great.
You can go work out if you want.
Did you also, part of the website, promoting the website, did you pay for an SEO?
That will be part of the cost,
Okay.
yes. Which again is not my expertise, so again, part of the 2,700 will not be enough to cover what we're talking about, but it's hopefully gonna put a dent in to get a lot of it going. But yes, that is, the SEO words is gonna be important to make sure that this is seen, and that again, every click costs a certain amount of money, so yeah, we'll have to pay for that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing's free.
No,
Nothing's free.
Thanks.
That's my mother always said, nothing's free.
that's true.
Do you do economics development too? No? Maybe?
Dirty
All
one.
right, 31, economic development.
That's for the commission, so, there's really no change there.
That's
Oh, yeah, right.
$1.
Yeah,
Can't beat that, Joe.
so,
Can't beat that, Joe.
No, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a cool one.
but they're a great
$1.
commission, they help me a lot to do the things that I need to do, so.
How empty is the mall now, do you know?
I don't know the
We
vacancy
don't get
rate,
into
but
that.
they're very, excited about all the new items coming in. So just between Boscov's and Dave & Buster's, they have wine news bar coming in.
Oh, yeah.
They have a new kids playscape coming in. So like the mall, like many different strip malls and that type of thing, are starting to replace traditional retail with experiences.
Yeah.
So people don't want to go and shop, they'll do the shopping on Amazon, but they still want to go out and have fun. So the malls and places like that are bowling and movies and places to just experience things are where everything's really going.
Sure. Okay,
Thank you.
again.
thanks. Ken.
Human resources.
Whoa,
419. Hello.
41.
Welcome, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. So I just want to talk a little bit about what HR does. I do have 3 line items that I have requested an increase, but I wanted to sort of give a picture as to the reasons for my request. HR for the last, well, as many of you know, for the last almost 2 years, close to 2 years, the city has been engaged in upgrading its financial payroll HR system. This past July, we went live on Munis on the financial side. About April of last year, we entered phase 2 of the project, which is converting the payroll HR system into Munis. We're expected to go live on April 1st of this year. It is a very robust system in comparison to the system that we had. This is a very payroll system, and a lot of things are going to be shifting. Where now there are some pieces in finance, payroll, IT, even accounting. We're really going to restructure the operations, and a bulk of the work is going to be shifting into HR. As hence the system is a human resource information system, we will be managing that data. We will be keeping up with the system, and based on our information, then payroll will be processing payroll. So not only are we going to take on responsibilities that were not part of our office before, but we're going to enhance those and increase and be able to manage a lot more information. So for the past 8 or 10 months, I've been serving as the HR director as well as being the co-project manager for that phase. We're about 6 weeks away, and there's been a small team really working on this diligently. And so as a result of that, I am requesting for an additional position within the HR department. Currently, it's myself, I have a generalist and a benefits specialist, and I'm looking for an assistant, HR assistant, an entry-level position that can support the 3 professionals, if you will. The system is going to create new work, but some of it is going to be more clerical in nature. In this small department over the last year and on the recruitment side, we've recruited for over 24 positions. Some key positions have been the superintendent of wastewater, some clerk positions, some mechanical positions, nurses, and so forth. In those efforts, we've reviewed over 700 applications, in addition to another 500 or so through Indeed Indeed website rather. And some of those tasks are very manual and labor intensive, and we have to send letters to every applicant, we have to notify them because of civil service. So I would like to be able to have my generalist focusing on high level work and working with the system, as well as the benefits specialist that's also now a compensation and benefits specialist, and be able to have an assistant to work on sending out letters, making copies and packets for the pension board and so forth, and being able to assist me in all the other efforts that we've incorporated into this office over the course of the 5 years that I've been here, where we created a wellness program, we've created a Employee of the Month program, and all these programs are fantastic, but they also need support. And so having that entry-level position to be able to assist us is here of the proposed and current organizational chart.
Thank you.
Does any members have any questions so far?
Is that a part-time position or
I'm sorry?
full-time position?
It would be a full-time position, yes, 37.5 hours. The other members, the other positions in my office work 37.5 hours as well. And there were two other line items that I requested a slight increase. One was in the medical and dental, which historically was at $5,000. Last year we did decrease it. However, that's the line where we pay for independent medical exams for employees who are seeking whether they're service-connected or non-service-connected disabilities. Normally these exams cost anywhere between $5,000 and $1,200. This year alone we've had 4 of those independent medical exams required, and I believe we're going to have 2 more coming down the line. So I just wanted to restore back to what it historically had been. And then the miscellaneous professional fees that we paid for arbitrations, and the cost used to be $25. The state changed that cost to $200. This past year we had about 16 grievances that were filed. So every time those go up to arbitration, that's $200. And so I didn't have enough to cover that.
Which area is that under?
That's under the miscellaneous professional
Yeah, right.
services.
It's quite a jump. Is that the correct figure, 20,888 so far this year?
I don't think so.
It seems awful high.
I think it's $2,088.
There may be an extra zero.
Yeah, there may be an extra zero. I think it's 2,800. I think the zero is.
2,800,
Yes,
okay.
yes, so far.
Okay. Kind of shocked me when I saw it.
I saw that too, but I knew it was.
That-
And
Now, who handles the arbitration?
It's a joint effort between my office, myself, and the city attorney's office. It's just a
That's it,
city
okay.
attorney.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Further?
Good job.
You
Thank
have
you.
pension board going for
Thank
the
you very
right?
much.
Yeah.
I also have the, yes, the Civil Service Commission and Pension Board, but they're,
30 and 31. 30 and 31.
they're staying the same. Civil service is $200, has never changed. It's in the event that I do need somebody to come in to serve as a secretary, but typically the HR generalist does that, so there's no additional cost, but there's just a safeguard. And the pension board, that's usually a line item that Peter inserts there because we received the number from the accountant.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I'll have to say.
Excellent.
Now, the Civil Service Commission, I was on it 100 years ago. When you interview under that, they interview people, right? The Civil Service Commission?
Sometimes, but
Yeah.
I'll have the chair sit for some positions, yes.
Right.
Mhm.
And then we recommended, I think, 3 people or whatever and all that.
That's up Thank you. Have a good
Thanks again, take care.
Council on Aging, 4401.
87.
Good evening,
Oh,
everyone.
thank you.
Good evening.
Janice Jackson, Executive Director of the Milford Senior Center. With me tonight is Phyllis Leggett, bookkeeper, and Phyllis just passed out a copy of our February bulletin and with a copy of our programs and services. I'd like to give you some general information about the senior center based on the last fiscal year ending June 30th, 2018. We have 41 employees for our full-time and 37 are part-time. Last year, our Meals on Wheels drivers delivered 13,132 meals to elderly and disabled clients in Milford. That is a 19% increase from the year before. We have a total of 12 vehicles and 9 drivers. 1 driver is full-time and 8 are part-time. Our transportation service provided 22,982 rides for older adults. Last year, we served 30,164 meals in our mini lunch program. Our continental breakfast program served 8,347 seniors, which is a 13% increase from the previous year. Our insurance specialists served 2,272 clients. Social services served 7,263 clients with requests such as home care assistance, housing referrals, entitlement programs, referrals to healthcare and assisted living facilities. That was a 5% increase from the previous year. The Milford Food Bank assisted 2,545 clients with food. 350 people over the age of 55 joined the Milford Senior Center. 25,369 members attended our classes. That is a 23% increase from the previous year. 3,613 people attended special events at the center, and 1,337 seniors attended our trips. Thank you very much for your support. Does anyone have any questions concerning our programs or services?
Thank you for the information. Any questions from the
How many
board?
members do you have?
Approximately 3,000.
3,000.
Approximately. The membership is $15 a year.
When did that go up?
That one, that increased in 2014.
Yeah. Home care, you're not involved in home care, you're just referencing
We
these
make
people to
referrals
refer to the
to home care
home care
agencies.
agencies, yeah. Okay, that's great. What's the breakfast like?
The continental breakfast.
Oh, you mean I gotta pick up my own food and eat it?
It's like Motel 6.
So,
Coffee,
think
tea,
tomato-
orange juice.
tomato-
coffee and a bagel.
No, we don't see them. Not for breakfast.
Have a great lunch.
I don't know, if you take a look at this, it says mini lunch, and then look at all you get for the mini lunch.
Yeah, mini lunch is
You really wanna get me going, huh? And how much they pay for mini lunch? $2? Whoa.
That's on page 7 of
Yeah.
the bulletin, and it's $3 for a complete meal. That comes with a cup of soup, bread and butter, coffee and tea, dessert. Or you can purchase a sandwich if you'd like for $1.25. A cup of soup is 50 cents.
Where's this food prepared? Right in the building? Yeah.
Yes.
Regular restaurant.
Yes, and the food comes in from City Line.
And Wendy makes the best soup.
Any steak?
Sometimes, no.
Yeah.
Chopstick.
Sure.
Chopstick.
Meatloaf is very good.
That's what I was just gonna say. It has to be meatloaf.
That is very good.
Thursday.
Thursday, okay. I'm gonna send her in.
Well, thanks, Scott. Any further?
Okay, no, I don't.
Is it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for what you're doing.
Milford Arts Council.
87.
Paige, how are you?
Everybody, my name is Paige Millian. I'm the Executive Director of the Milford Arts Council. I have a couple of things to share. I don't have copies for everyone. This past summer, we redid our entire website, logo, brand, and our brochure to kind of reflect some of the re-promotion we have with our new marketing director, who has been a godsend. The outside of the building's renovation is complete.
Walk away.
And just to give you a kind of an oversight of the type of events that we have and the type of attendance. So we do over 220 events every single year and bring in about 12,000 people. This year, we also took it upon ourselves to look at the Firehouse Gallery in Walnut Beach. So the Firehouse Gallery has been with Milford Arts Council since 2004. So we were waiting to get some help fixing the outside of the building, some roof work and facade work, which we got with a bond, a block grant last year. Pardon?
You didn't like the way that looked?
Yeah, it was a little quiet. So we've renovated two sides of it to replicate brick, brownstone, and sandstone, historic fire station, and all the woodwork trim and the doors, including the garage door, are bright fire engine red. And the side facing the water and the business district
That
was
looks
painted.
artistic.
Yes, was painted by a local artist who actually lives down the street from the MAC downtown. To show you kind of the impact that it has, we now have people who stop by our venue to snap pictures of their
That's cute.
kids. People get out and take videos of themselves dancing in front of it. Pass that around. We are trying to change up the inside use as well. So we have this patio as well as the patio downtown, so we're trying to have arts engagement activities with the public. Again, working with kids of all ages. The inside of the firehouse was also slightly renovated with a fresh coat of paint. We took out a partition wall and opened up the space. So the idea is to have pop-up exhibits by different artists and running workshops and kind of hands-on experiences that will change over the course of the year. So there's something new and different at least a couple times a month. We continue to work closely with the city on projects, on economic development, chamber events. We worked with the library on a collaborative event on our February production of These Shining Lives. These Shining Lives was set in the 19-teens, and the play was actually the basis of a New York Times bestseller book called Radiant Girls, telling the same story. And so we did a collaborative event with the library on that. And possibly? Possibly. Part of that story actually took place in Bridgeport, so it had a local connection as well. And the production, happy to say, almost sold out every single show. I think having that human connection made a really kind of great effort on that end. We are working with Get in Touch Foundation, developing a fundraiser for them in May. And I just met with somebody from Network of Executive Women to focus a new fundraiser at the MAC as well. So we're really trying to reach out into the community, support other 501c3s, community events, and get more people in our doors. So, any question? Your generosity this year, our ask was flat, but it was after a small raise last year, and it covers about a third of our budget. So 70,000 against a budget of about 200,000.
Very excited. Great job. Thank you. Any questions?
Now, who else gives you grants?
We got just a very small grant from the state this year, only $500, unfortunately.
Boy, can they
We
be
got a grant from Dead One Rotary actually for $3,500 to pay for the mural on the side of the firehouse, which was great.
Yeah.
We have about 2/3 of our $25,000 corporate sponsorship in-house
So we have business sponsors from across the city. Otherwise, it's what we make at our events.
Usually they at your events, yeah. Nancy putting on a show this year?
Nancy is actually doing a community project in celebration of Eastbound Productions' 25th year. We're going to be doing Our Town as an outside, multi-site event happening in downtown Milford.
Oh,
I believe
yeah.
the mayor will have a small role in it, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, great, she's clever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Have a good
Thank you very much, and thanks for your work. Keep the pictures back here.
Doesn't matter.
No, you got it.
Regional mental health. I don't think you have it yet. That needs to be,
Thanks, Dave.
plans, right? Regional mental health.
That's a small one.
Yeah, it's a per capita allocation.
Yes.
Okay. Transit district.
89.
Good evening.
My name is Harry Jadek, I'm the executive director of the Milford Transit District. We do Metro buses, the ADA vans, vans for the elderly, and Metro North Park, basically. Capital projects we've been involved in over the years. Completed the public mall, if you notice there, the heated long row of shelters that was on recent ones. So next year, well, pretty soon this year actually, we'll be replacing 2 shelters downtown that you've seen there.
I was going to say, thank you for painting the one in front of Webster's.
You can only put so much lipstick on.
Yeah, but it still looks a lot better than it did.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad,
Yeah, it
actually.
looks good.
But they're structurally, they have been some serious problems that we'll be able to get some federal money to get a couple new ones. Answer any question you have?
Increase in passages to the mall? Or is it about
Somewhat,
the
yes,
same?
somewhat.
Because I figure with David Buster.
Yeah, I was looking for a little bit more, actually. There's a small increase.
Mhm.
Hopefully that builds, especially with the employees, not necessarily the patrons. Because a large number, probably, an old survey, probably 7 or 8 years ago, was 40% of the employees took public transportation. That could be our bus, could be the Haven bus. That number, I haven't checked that. That was a general survey that was done by the mall, asking a lot of different questions to the employees, and that was one of them. But I expected it, because those are entry-level jobs at Bosco's, if you've been to see it, the same thing with the other store. They're not the executives, they're entry-level jobs, so you would expect to have a lot more bus riders. So I'll pay a little more attention to that, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Why the increase on 345 to 360, what was the increase?
We haven't received an increase in about 7 years or so. And we still have the same expenses that everybody else does, but especially we have contractual obligations for, that's one reason that we could use that one. Any increase that we receive this year go toward that. They received a small increase in July, I think it's 1.5%. And also, the state seems to be looking, especially the Department of Transportation, some more personnel at the transit districts and what the cities contribute, what the cities do locally for the districts. So, since we haven't had the increase in some years, I thought even a token increase would be reflective of the support that the city, and the city does support the district well.
How much revenue do you bring in?
About 20%.
20% revenue? And that includes the parking?
No, parking is all that. Parking is totally separate from everything else. By the contract that, the lease that we have with the state of Connecticut, that has to be, any monies are used there. You use some partial salaries to operate things, for an attendant down there, and for repairs and maintenance and so on. But it can only be used for that. So that program is self-sustaining, none of the monies from the city go toward that.
You don't have any problems West Haven is having with parking?
I almost want to make no comments since the camera's on.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know why they have the problems they have. I mean, you always have some problems, and not to that extent.
Anything further?
Nope.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Randy.
Beth Al.
92.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you.
So in your packets, you'll see our operating budget for 2019, a statewide analytics project that was done in collaboration with Department of Housing and DES and a group out of California, consulting group, Global Strategies, comparing our program to other programs throughout the state, as well as some promotional activities, some promotional items. I'm Jennifer Paradis. I'm the, not so new, but I was here last year. Executive Director of the Beth Al Center. This is Julie Lansberg. She's our Secretary of the Board and our Board President and DEs. I do have a prepared statement. So we're very, very grateful for the support that the city offers us. It's a commitment to the most vulnerable community members. We've experienced over the past year, both regional and statewide, an increase in the need for emergency shelter services and food services. As we've seen this need increase, our services and programs continue to adapt. According to a point-in-time count, which is essentially a homeless census, in 2018, the Greater New Haven area, which was inclusive of Milford, experienced a 113% increase in the unsheltered homeless population. We saw the impact of this throughout the city, including the encampment that was developed in the back of what is now known as Fowler Park. We simultaneously experienced an increase in our soup kitchen, 10 to 15 individuals per day, as well as our no-free shelter program, which is traditionally a 12-bed program. We, at times during intense cold weather, operate as a warming center, and in that program we've seen up to 22 or 23 individuals tonight. So the need is rising.
I'll look you for a second. What'd you say about Eisenhower?
Not Eisenhower, Fowler Field, so that area behind the Library Park area.
Yeah.
There was a cluster of individuals who had begun to encamp there.
Yeah, they're up in Eisenhower in the back too.
There is an individual, there are several
There's
encampments.
one guy, but now that the other night there were 4 of them. I live right up there.
Yeah, yeah.
4 tents.
So what we've done, and this is the direct result of what we've seen happening regionally. So Milford is not an anomaly when it comes to this. What we did in collaboration with city partners, other nonprofit partners, two things. We expanded our outreach and engagement services, so we added a full-time position to our team at the Beth Al Center who's exclusively working on outreach and engagement efforts, essentially case managing individuals and helping them get into shelter and other support services. That was originally a part-time position. At the end of last year, we were able to make it full-time as of January 1. And we developed what we're calling a work group throughout the city that's comprised of municipality representation from the city, from the Department of Public Health, nonprofits, Bridges, Milford Prevention Council, the library, the police, fire, and Carol from People Services in order to ensure that we were meeting the needs of families in the area that would be experiencing homelessness as well. So what we're starting to see is a curb in that, a reduction in the volume of folks that are encamping. That has brought them inside, so that's why we've seen the increases in our shelter programs, in our No Freeze program, in our soup kitchen program, in our 90-day program. Which is the preferable option, of course, and so we continue to work with those individuals. I think in previous years what's been reported is that although we are a shelter that's located in Milford, the majority of folks might not be from Milford. Now I can say about 50% of the folks that are our 90-day shelter program are Milford individuals. Last known zip code was a Milford zip code, and about 95% of the folks that are utilizing our no-free services are Milford residents as well. So we're continuing to ask for sustained funding. It's critical. We don't know what to expect from the Vermont budget. There's testimonies being presented this week, public hearings being presented this week. Although Department of Housing and DEMIS seem to be sustained, and there was a slight reallocation, but what looks to be a slight increase in the Department of Housing budget. We're concerned about other areas of that state budget that might impact the work that we do. They're looking to cut lifeline services like Care for Kids and TANF, which is the cash assistance for families. That would impact our work as well and our ability to not only prevent homelessness, but to house folks as well. If I could just also mention the statewide analytics project, the document that you're holding. I think that's very important because it's data crunching that we could not do as a very small nonprofit, but it's wonderful to see us as compared to other shelters in the greater New Haven area and in the state area. And what this essentially shows and what I hope to paint is that we're really efficient with our dollar. That's incredibly important to us. We want to continue to serve more individuals than we have in 2019 than we did in 2018 than we did in 2017. But so we're seeing more people, our outcomes are increasing, but we're also operating cost effectively. So we're one of the most cost effective emergency shelter programs in the state.
Did you say the No Free Shelter is at your building on New Haven Avenue?
Yes, it's located in our soup kitchen dining hall in the chapel area.
I didn't realize that.
Do surrounding cities or towns give you additional funds or grants or anything, or is Milford the only one?
Milford is the only one.
892.
We do work in a regional sense, so it's the coordinated access network of the greater New Haven area. So that spans from Shoreline, from Milford, Madison, down to up to Shelton, the Schooner House Emergency Shelter Program up there.
Are you the only shelter? Does West Haven have a shelter?
West Haven does not have a shelter. They have the, so we do have a contract with the VA, and so their veteran services, they do have, they contract out fee for service, so we hold that. So there is a central location and what essentially operates as what we call a day shelter, but no overnight beds at this time. The need is certainly there.
Yeah, I think so. Any questions from members of the board?
Nope.
Well, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Important service. Boys and Girls Village. How are you?
Great, how are you?
Good.
I think by this point everybody knows me, but I'm Megan from the Boys and Girls Club. We have had a very busy year down at the club. Over last year, we have a 12% increase in the number of members we serve, and we're currently serving over 550 kids. So I will actually get the club 10 years in October, and in 10 years we went from serving 30 kids. When I walked in the door to over 550 kids.
Has it been 10 years?
Crazy, right?
It is good.
A lot has happened in 10 years.
A lot has happened. So what I have with you are just some of the accomplishments that we have seen over the past year. So we held our third licensed summer camp in the state of Connecticut. Currently to date, I have 81 members registered for summer camp. We opened registration on February 8th. This time last year, we had 37 kids registered. We were able to get, it's anticipated that we're going to be able to get a little bit more classroom space at Seven Lake. So we're hoping to be able to house an extra 30 kids this summer. So we're really excited about that. We have set up our endowment fund. It's still very small, but we do understand for the sustainability of our future, this is something that we needed to do. It's got like $14,000 in it, but you gotta start somewhere, so we're really excited about that. We had our largest fundraiser with our gala last year, and we're on track to hopefully sell out again. So if anybody isn't busy, on Thursday, April 24th, please join us for our gala. It's a very fun night. And we are currently in the process of exploring the possibility of purchasing a permanent student and boys and girls facility. So making sure that it's the right time for everyone, and we're doing something that also allows for a very long future of boys and girls. But we are currently in that process. And we've been able to expand the age of the members we serve. So in the past, we've always done age 6 to 18, which cut off pretty much all the kindergartners. And that was challenging for some families who had kids in kindergarten and older children as well, and they were doing 2 pickups, or we were losing kids from our program. So we expanded, and last year we served 26 5-year-olds. So we were really So we had a fun, busy year. As you can see, our membership is up. Right now, our 2018 numbers, the reason it looks lower is because it's only for December, and we are on track to be about 3% over where we were last year. So we have seen a very continuous growth since we started keeping track. The next page is just some demographics and statistics on our members, the different types of kids we serve, pretty much as we serve everyone. All types of kids, all different ages. The next page is just the financials of our members. So we do, once again, serve kids from all types of backgrounds, the extremely low income to the economical moderate income, everywhere across. And next page is just the different programs we offer, and we continue to expand on that. We do continue to explore new grants and funding sources so we can offer new programs to the members and give them experiences. All of these programs are included in their $200 membership fee. So we don't charge an extra dollar to do anything, whether it's Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, running clubs, healthy eating, Smart Moves, our drug prevention program. It's all included in the $200 a year. And we currently scholarship 26% of the kids that come to the Boy Scouts Club. This is our amazing list of board of directors and trustees. We're very, very fortunate at the Boys and Girls Club to have a board that is focused on our growth and making sure the Boys and Girls Club is sustainable and making decisions to keep the organization moving forward. So they're a great group of people that I'm very lucky to work with every day. And our goals for the next year. So we're going to hopefully continue to expand the number of youth we serve. We currently have transportation from 4 schools in the community, and we're really hoping to be able to expand that to a couple more schools. I get phone calls daily from parents of, why are you going to this school? Why don't you have transportation from this school? So we're trying to figure out how we can address that in a cost-effective way for everyone. Continue to explore and expand our physical presence, hopefully with the purchase of St. Gabriel's School, if we are decide it's the safe and healthy way for the Boys and Girls Club to grow. Continuing to expand and strengthen our growth programs. We're really working on developing some niche programs that the Boys and Girls Club is known for, and who knows what it's going to be, but we're trying to figure out where there might be a need in the community and how we can become the best at doing whatever there is a need for. We're always continuing to grow and engage our board. It's fun. We're up to a lot of board members right now, 27. And we continue to make sure we're serving the youth who need us most. That's why we're there every day. All the other stuff is great, but when we're there, we are serving the kids who need us and helping them make healthy decisions and helping them with their problems and helping families when they're in need. It really is a great place to be and work. Okay.
Well, thank you for all your efforts.
Yeah.
So we did ask for an increase. We talked about money now. We did ask for a little increase, but we actually increased due to the fact that we are serving more kids. And while we do continue to look for new funding sources and ways we can grow our budget, at the same time we're getting cut by 40% from the state, or unable to grow because we had successful events, but then we're getting cuts in other areas. So it's a continuing balance that, and we did ask for a small increase.
How much did the state cut you?
We used to receive $34,000, we're down to 17. So
I cut you by 50%. This is the next one.
Anything further?
How many people Employee.
So I currently have 4 full-time staff, and I have anywhere, depending on the time of year, I currently have 23 part-time staff, but over the summer I have about 37 part-time staff. We just increased, we had 3 full-time positions for a few years, and we were able to just increase that to 4 full-time positions. Really focusing on our teen center right now, being able to grow the teams and make sure we're offering them the programs and experiences they want.
So it's only the state and the city really giving you the biggest amount, or no?
We raise a lot of money on our special events, that's probably one of our largest revenue streams. In addition, we do get grants, foundations, and individual donations are huge. We do try to really make sure it's well-rounded and making sure we have one thing, so God forbid it was the state that we were cutting.
Do you do anything with the Y?
We aren't currently partnering with them. In years past, we were working on a water safety program, but we don't currently have any program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the work.
Literacy, volunteers, and public health. How are you?
I'm Tammy Jackson, Executive Director for Literacy Volunteers of Southern Connecticut, and thank you for the possibility to support our programs. We got a 12% increase in our students this year. Most people don't realize there's 46 different languages spoke just in the town of Milford, city of Milford. So it's becoming more diverse than most people realize, which is why we're having an international festival this summer. It's our 25th anniversary, so we're going to try to bring awareness to how diverse our community is, have some international entertainment and things like that, so we're really looking forward to something like that. We had 72 tutors, and our tutors volunteered over 4,000 hours towards their students last year. So it just puts into perspective what is happening at the center. I'm the only paid staff member. We do have 2 tutor trainers, but all the work gets done through volunteer efforts. We had 82% that said they had increased their conversation skills, 52% employable skills had increased. Several people had their driver's license, citizenship, so we do track things like that to see what their progress is and how they're succeeding through their time that they spend with us. We also have some children's programs, so we do a lot of literacy efforts, especially as digital media is overwhelming our youth and our young. We do books for babies, books for toddlers, books for birthdays programming. We get books into the hands of children, and along with packets that encourage parents to do reading with their children, and why that's still important instead of giving them digital. I did bring a few visual aids because I'm a visual learner. These are just some one of our last newsletters, just some information about us and some of our student stories. You can know a few of the people that are with our program. The woman at the bottom of the page, on the first page, her name is Zahara Ben. She is 77 and went 4 times to get her citizenship because she wanted to be an American citizen. So her essay, we do essay writings every year. Her essay was, "I persisted," and she didn't give up, and that's really embodies so much of who the immigrants are that come to the United States, particularly to Milford, and want to make a better life for themselves and their families. The majority of our students are women. They're 76%, so we try to cater a lot of our programs to the women, mostly because they'll come here either, escaping really horrific situations that are going on in their countries, or their families come here, their husbands come for job transfers and such, the kids go off to school and the women are left at home. They don't have any outlets, any friends, they can't read the language, they can't speak, they can't go to stores, so they're very isolated. So we created a women's class this year, a lunch and learn, and a grammar class, and those have been pretty successful. So the women's class is really just very informal. We allow them to bring their children, we have some toys and things if they need to bring their toddlers. It's really just a time for them to talk with each other and make friends and have some bonding efforts. They may talk about, one class may be about, enrolling their child in school. What's the best preschool? It could just be healthy eating. Like, where do you go to shop? I mean, what are the prices? I mean, it's just very, think of, how, like, as a young mother, I would get together with my friends they don't have that opportunity, so it's a nice way for them to come together. So we've tried to create at least one or more classes every day so that they have a place to come to and have a safe haven at the Engage Community Center.
How do these women, how do they find their way to you?
Yes, that is the question. So we have a 7-language mailer that we try to send out a couple times a year as costly. So, we try to we try to find pockets in the town that we think are, like Robert Tree Apartments, they have a large immigrant population. Most of them will look online because within their computers they have translation so that they can find us if they know their own keywords, and most of it's word of mouth. Turkish women will find Turkish families. They go to the same churches, they shop in the same stores, Spanish. So it's kind of the same thing, and then they'll tell a friend and so on. So a lot of it comes through word of mouth and through friends, but internet is the other.
Thank you.
Terrific, thank you.
I'll give you some of our international festivals. Come to our event.
Free pass?
Yeah, free pass.
Nothing's free.
Oh, or you can come to Leprechaun.
Cold.
Oh, I wanted to show you this too. So I just wanted to show you what our curriculum is, because a lot of people are like, how do you teach people who don't speak English if I don't speak Chinese? How do I teach a Chinese woman? So we purchased these through various grants. It's a Challenger series that correlates to the CASAS system, which we could never afford because it's just so expensive. And they have, and they're just various chapters, and they start basic with short stories, some glossary words, and then it builds as it goes on. So it becomes more and more complicated as each of the chapters go and how each of the books go. Right. So when we look at information, like when they send their hours and we ask how far they've progressed, well then we're able to say that they've mastered, these certain things, or they've mastered this certain thing, so that we can kind of track that they are being successful. And sometimes, at the end of the book or the chapter, they'll say, I think I want to do it again, because as we say, repetition, 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 that's how you learn. So sometimes they'll actually go back through it again. Some of our classes do the new Easy English News, and this is particularly for immigrants, and the stories are short, and they have events, they've got stories that relate to the certain months, and things that are particularly interesting to immigrants, like immigration, some of the laws. I mean, over the last couple of years, there's been a ton of stuff that is scary to them, and they don't know how to deal with it. So our tutors not only are teaching them important skills in learning the language and integrating into our community, they're also kind of social workers and helping and giving them comfort, like, this is how we're going to do this. And maybe I'll go, like I've had some teachers, some of the tutors go to schools with their children kind of as a as a representative, because they want to make sure they're getting the right information to the teachers and make sure that language barrier doesn't inhibit success for their children. So
that's great.
They really donate a lot of time and and become really part of their family. So
it's exciting. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Milford's Historic Preservation Commission is simply secretarial fees, page 92. Advertising.
Yeah.
Golf course.
112.
Welcome. How are you today?
Good evening. My name is Dan Worrell. I'm golf commissioner for the Artificial Golf Course City of Milford. I also help out with financials for the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
So as you can tell, our budget is the same as last year. I'm here if you need to know anything about the golf course. I answer any other questions.
Big increase in the use of the course?
Actually, the rounds are down.
They went down?
They were down from
that's right.
the last 2 years. The golf industry is basically all over, it's down. However, the big factor, weather. A lot of rainy days this past year.
Yeah.
And that just affects us, not only in rounds, but if they can't go out, we've got to limit the use of carts, not to cause any damage to the course.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the course is in decent shape. It's over 20 years old, so we try to keep it up as best as we can.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
It does. Doesn't move that much.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, that was easy.
Thanks for your patience.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gentlemen?
Yeah.
Good evening.
How are you?
Before 7 o'clock, that's not too bad.
That is pretty good.
I don't make a hockey game either.
Maybe.
The Ranger game or is it?
No, Shelton.
Oh, the high school.
Yeah, the high school.
Okay.
ND West Haven, ND Fairfield, the two NDs.
Okay.
It's play down time now.
Oh, I see. Do you have a team that you prefer?
I follow all the high schools except my favorite is the Jesuits.
Oh, okay.
Fairfield Club.
Oh, boy.
Always goes with the winners. Always picks the winner, right?
And I sit between two winners.
My son played for ND West Haven when they were the best. I mean, they were when it was them and Prep and
Yeah.
everybody, then everyone
Yeah.
else. Now there's a lot of parity in hockey.
Yeah, there is.
It's hard to
Yeah,
get.
it's good.
If they had a goalie, they'd be very good this year, ND West Haven.
Okay.
They're good. They got one little kid, he's about 5'4", 5'5". His name is Hayden.
Okay.
Number 3, if you ever go to a game. I've never seen a kid, he's like Atkinson that plays for Columbus, or my kid that plays for Calgary, Chisa Keaton Pool. Fast, quick, and dirty.
Yeah.
This little shit can go in there. He'll take them all out. And then they have a kid that's 6'7". He's a black boy, 20, he's number 20. He's a forward. Most guys that big are in the defense. This kid can move. He's going to be at ND next year, though. Some prep schools going to grab him.
Yeah, the best ones go to the prep schools.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. 43.
So, if I could, I'll be very brief. Before I take any questions, I just wanted to go on record as saying that, once again, the overtime account is severely underfunded. Not only does it not meet what a department this size needs with this size and complexity, and we won't meet we will be well short of that number. We are every year, and we tend to make up for it by going after the surpluses that are left in the regular wage account. I'm not sure we'll make it this year. It might be, and I don't know if we'll make it in this budget as well, and so I just want to make sure that we understand. I can put that in perspective for you really quick. There are contractual obligations, and I have those numbers all broken down if you're ever interested. We do not meet our contractual obligations of what we have to hire. And we don't meet our training obligations as well. Nevertheless, we find ways to do it, scraping other accounts. Put it in further perspective, I took a look at Hampton. I can only find numbers for Hampton. They have, I think, 9 less or 8 less police officers than we do. And they're on the average of about 1.4. I don't know what they spend. I can tell you a couple of years ago what they allocated. I can read you Fairfield, and it's on Munis, which I found very shocking, but it's in the millions. And I can only, I've highlighted some of that here. Fairfield is a little smaller than us. Calls for service are relatively close. Overtime, $1,083,000 for overtime for special events, investigations, response. Another overtime account, funding the replacement of officers who are sick, injured, on vacation, military leave, $1,079,000, and then training overtime, $417,000 and change.
What's their total budget?
They're about $1 million, a little bit more than $1 million more than we are.
Okay.
But their regular wages are $1 million less, even though their officers make considerably more than our officers make. They have less. Their wage accounts are it's less. I assume because they have less officers. I can only pull it up in Munis. I really can't provide any further perspective other than what was in this document. And so I do that every year. I try to look at what other departments are spending, so I know what those numbers are, and I know we're far, far below what we spend ultimately. That's certainly what we allocate. And with that, you know, I can take any questions.
When you say
Go ahead.
special events, the events, aren't they paying for the offices?
I can't give you more perspective than
Yeah,
that.
right.
I can only tell you what
Yeah.
the description is on
Yeah.
that. So I just wanted to kind of give you some raw numbers, and I gave you
Yeah.
some brief description as to what they were. So, while it's difficult to compare apples to apples, in this case, it does seem pretty much apples to apples.
Who has to,
Did we go to? We went to 57,000. We probably handle about 270,000 phone calls for information. We have a lobby that for some reason tends to be full of folks coming in looking for assistance for one thing or another. And we also do provide a lot of services that maybe some agencies may not. We're a sophisticated agency. And there's been some question as to, I've been asked, do we train too much because it's expensive? Do we have too many, are we too sophisticated? In other words, do we have resources that other departments don't? Things that we're all proud of, historically we've been proud of, and I'd like to see us going in that direction. And that's why when I opened my remarks, I said not just number of employees and calls for service, but the sophistication of the agency. I think that's important.
Do we have any vacancies right now?
Yes, do we have one?
One, that's perfect.
is that a regular officer?
It is.
Regular
It's a
officer.
recent retirement. It's also important to remember, and I try to make sure that folks understand the distinction. While I believe there's a distinction with public safety, and I think it's one of the most important aspects of government, keep people safe. And as a result, and we can argue over resources, what resources should be allocated and which ones could be considered disposable. But nevertheless, one of the differences about policing is it takes 10 months from the day you're hired to begin to get paid until you take your first call. And you don't see that in a lot of places. Usually you hire someone, it's their training, and then they start. So it's 10 months. And the problem with that is we have to still pay for those. We have to fund those vacancies. We have to still staff those vacancies. Even though those folks aren't there, they're in training. So we're paying them while they're in training, and we're paying people to work. Contractually, we have to pay at a rate of 60%. So if there's 10 openings, we have to fill 6 of those openings on overtime.
If you hire somebody from another department, they don't go through a whole 10-month thing, do they?
No, they don't.
No, okay.
They don't.
Right.
And there's some requirements, statutory requirements as to who you can hire and when, how long have they been certified, certifications for law enforcement.
Oh, yes.
Connecticut's here for 3 years. If they stay within that 3 years, we look at the training requirements, and then there's a process that they go through, and they have to make up some classes. We don't normally do that. We prefer to take new officers that we can, because we believe we have a culture that's special and important, unique in a lot of sense. And so we prefer to train from the ground up as opposed to take someone who wasn't happy from one agency or another. And so what we see is officers that leave those agencies. It's either working conditions, more than likely it's pension, it's pay, it's benefits, those kind of things. We're looking for people that have a passion, that want to be in this line of work, not necessarily those that are looking for a better personnel package or better employment package. And then you have to also ask, why are they leaving the agency they're at? And we can, somebody else's culture, somebody else's problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you have a minimum manpower requirements?
Well, we don't necessarily have that, but we have to hire at 60%. So 60% of all openings, again, so if you have 10 openings, if 10 people took vacation, you have to hire for 6 of those. That's the contractual requirement.
Okay.
And that money comes out of overtime. So depending on what that vacancy is, for instance, if it's just a straight vacancy, that time and a half is going to come out of overtime. If someone takes vacation, the first 8 hours come out of the vacation account, but the other 4 hours of time and a half come out of the overtime account. And that's why those numbers are inflated quite a bit. And in fact, just give you some numbers, we're over $1 million if we continue. We're just a little over $1 million if we actually funded, if we paid for every vacancy at 60%. And there's a lot of variables to that equation. For instance, this year we've been funding, we've had a lot of break-ins to cars, and a lot of stolen cars. It's the #1 complaint in the state. It's a crime of opportunity. You can't just tell folks to lock their, even though this is happening to people that don't lock their cars, you can't just tell people not to lock their cars and that's the solution. understand that people aren't either going to forget or they just, for some reason, choose not to. So we're getting hit really hard. So we addressed that problem. We put together a task force. So we took 4 officers and put them together, and they did a tremendous job, not just in prevention, but in follow-up investigations. And the number of cars, the number of arrests we've made, the number of cars that we recovered, and the number of cases that we solved has been tremendous. But that's something that was unplanned. We didn't know that was going to be such a big problem. We had to address it. We're putting a bike off. We're hiring people on overtime to be around the library because folks are concerned about the homeless community down there. And we don't want people to feel unsafe. And so we've been spending money. That was that wasn't anticipated as well. And you just never know. If you have a SWAT call out, that can cost you $5,000 to maybe $10,000. A storm, a missing child, a missing adult. So those things are, some of those unknowns are difficult to plan for. So that's why it varies from one year to the next.
When somebody's car is broken, oh, I'm sorry.
Are you responsible for the rest stops on the highway?
No, we're not. We'll respond to any calls on the highway because we can be there sooner, quicker because of our deployment. But that's the responsibility of the state police.
State police?
Yes.
When people have their car broken into, is the insurance affected by that? Is there insurance? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm
sure.
Any claim.
I was filed a claim, but that's not claim.
Yeah, but I mean, you should. Most claims with insurance, you've got an increase in your premiums today.
They're not. What we're finding is whatever you leave open, if you leave your car open, you leave something in plain view, they're going to go in and take it. They're going to look in your glove box, looking for money. They'll take phones. If they leave a laptop in the car, they'll take that. Those kind of things.
Laundry.
Yeah.
My shirts.
Yeah. A tablet.
My dry cleaning.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Credit cards or wallet. Those quick stuff.
How many dogs do we have? We have
four.
4?
3 patrol dogs and 1 narcotics detection.
That's great. Okay.
When you guys go out on the boat, is that overtime?
That's overtime, yes. That's overtime. We actually, when I became chief, we reduced that. They used to go out all the time, and we reduced it to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then 1 shift on Sunday to come back on that. But that is all overtime. And it's
Now, if you use a dog in another town, do they reimburse us?
No.
Anyway?
No.
So,
crime knows no boundaries, and law enforcement knows no boundaries.
Right.
And while some will criticize the regionalization of law enforcement, I mean, if you look up at the legislature, everything is focused on regionalization. We have to work with each other. We have what's called a blue plan, where we share resources. We have statutes that are focused on mutual aid, because we can't. You'll never have enough police officers if you can't count on your neighbors to come and help you. You have to do the same for them. We do it all the time. We train together. There's a lot of regionalization in terms of investigative units, computer forensics, traffic accident investigation, SWAT teams. We don't have a county government system, so we're at a disadvantage. So regionalization, I mean, that's how we solve crimes.
You mentioned that there was an account that was approaching $1 million. Did you mention that before? There was an account that was going to go over $1 million?
No, I was talking about Fairfield's budget. Yeah, I was talking about Fairfield. I was just doing some comparisons as to where we are, just to give you some.
Their overtime was over $1 million.
Oh, it's if you look at this document, it's well over that. But I only tell you that because when you look at why we're spending so much, if you compare it to what we get allocated, that's from what we spend, it looks like we're overspending. And what I'm trying to say is that when we look at what our contractual requirements are and what our needs are, and I can articulate that in detail if you want, but we'd be here for a while, and I have it all here in front of me. And you also do a comparison with like agencies, you'll see that we are not. And this isn't just this year, this has been for quite a while. I mean, just looking at, we've had every year, if you look at the number of overtime hours that overtime money that we spend, it's significant. 2015, we spent $949,000, and I think that year we got, $490,000. I just don't want it to be a surprise to you, and I bring that up, and I'm trying to highlight that because we are eventually going to have to come back and say, there isn't enough, and I don't want anyone to be surprised. As long as there's an overage, as long as we can find that overage in regular wages, and it's double-edged sword, because if you have an overage, there might be somebody in regular wages, but yet you have to fill 60% of those.
Communication costs went from 10,000 up to 162. Is that a, is there something new in there?
Sure. When we did the Motorola system, which was 5 years ago now, in fact, we have a $330,000 upgrade that we have to do by July for the Motorola project. We had built into the contract, the support costs were pushed out to the 5th year. So the contract, they paid those annual support costs, and it was a $3.5 million project. Those support costs are due, and in fact, I've said it here before, and I say it at the Board of Aldermen every year. I'm sure the mayor and Peter probably remember that. Warning them that this is coming due in 2 years, this is coming due in next year. Well, it's due. We have to now continue to pay those costs, and we actually took a lower level of support. So we have to pay $330,000 to upgrade our system, and it's mandatory that we do that because we took a lower tiered support. So that's what that is.
So just so I'm clear, is that the new baseline going forward, the 162? Or
Yeah,
is
that
this
is.
just
No, that is going forward with some increases because we have to upgrade what we have, and you'll see some support increases. And there's also, in this conversation, I need to have the mayor, and I haven't had this with him yet, this to decide, do we want to, pay this money every 5 years when the system becomes obsolete and we have to change the operating system and some of the hardware, or do we want to build that into the support, which would mean an even larger number? I try to keep those, and my goal was when we negotiated this was keeping that reoccurring number down, and that's how we pushed it out. So you can expect that it's going to be that at minimum.
This is a bondable item.
We bonded the initial $3.5 million for the communication system, but the annual maintenance is generally not, other than the initial outlay.
The initial outlay. I thought we had that one.
Yeah, that's how we pay for it initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, another 5 years. Yeah.
Software, that's a lot, isn't it? Software maintenance, 264,000.
Those are all reoccurring costs.
Yeah.
In fact, not every reoccurring cost is in there. There are some things that we kind of pay as you go, or we just you cross your fingers and you hope that if it's not an essential system. There were so many.
Test and evaluations going from 12 to 20. What is the big?
That's always been underfunded. That's to pay for promotional exams. We give it every other year, and so when we do that, you'll always see that increase in here, and then the following year you'll notice that we haven't spent as much. We have, by contract, we have to do the sergeants, lieutenants, and captains exam, and depending on how many people take that exam, we have to pay for that.
They have a note, it's 1 and 2. SRO, yeah. What was note 2? I was looking for it.
Note 2?
That was from last year. I need to strike that. We had, that was when we added the additional SRO.
I don't like reading notes. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 regional officers?
5
SROs?
We went to 5 last year. Which recently went to 5 in this budget.
What was the Board of Education? What were they looking for that 27,000?
Security guard.
Security guard. Oh, yeah, security guard. Why do we need a security guard? The police department involved in that?
There was a security guard at the academy.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
Is it the police officer or is it a separate person?
No, it's separate security.
It's not a police officer. Do we really need him? If we have, every time I go by the academy, there's a police car sitting.
Well, they split, so
Yeah.
somebody, they go back and forth.
Yeah. Well, I just found 27,000. We have good policemen. Why do we need a security guy?
The reason for the police car may be because there's an incident too.
A what? Yeah, all right.
I mean, the SRO is not assigned specifically to the academy. It is a floater that, right now there are 5 SROs.
Right.
That split their time between the 3 middle schools and the 2 high schools. So the academy, for lack of a better term, gets the overage for the SROs.
62 kids. I'm going there to be a security guard this week.
I don't think you want to go.
62 kids. You never saw the way I raised my kids, did you? We'll go back to my father-in-law, the Marine. I'm not taking your shit.
Okay.
All right, I'm all done on the police department. Oh, the supplemental funds, what are we talking about there?
So those are the surcharge for the private duty. So there was a arbitration ruling years ago, and that helps pay for, I think, Social Security. There's a number of administrative things that are taken out of there to help. In other words, if the police officer is going to work, 10% of their time private duty, then the vendor should have to pay for uniforms and that piece of training and all the other administrative costs. So there's a percentage that's left over that we use it for training. In fact, we also rent cars. So when you see a car at a construction site, that's an old car that we've used. It's not a line car, and then we'll bill them for that. And then we actually take that money. That's why the car account is so low. I mean, when I became chief, we used to get 13 to 14 cars, and now we have 7 more police officers. And this budget here is only going to pay for 5. And it's not going to pay for any of the changeovers, or at least not all the changeovers. So we use that to supplement this.
All right. One other thing is the, like when you abscond with money, not abscond, you know what I'm saying, from...
Like a forfeiture?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are, there's state and federal. We don't get a lot of state. The federal money has some strict requirements and reporting requirements and use requirements, and so we use that. In fact, we bought motorcycles with that. We bought the Birch training system with that. That's why you don't see a lot of these items here, because we use alternative monies to pay for them. In fact, if you look at uniforms, I look at Fairfield. I think they give them $225,000. We put 60 here. We get the rest from that private duty supplement account, or we can take it as these assets.
How many police cruisers are you buying?
This year, we'll have to see what the bid is. They changed the model again. They're very expensive this year. They're going to be close to around $36,000, $37,000. So that budget will give us about 5. And then we'll look and see if we can supplement it with that other account and try to get more, because we really, I mean, historically we always had at least a dozen cruisers. Every year we seem to get less. We watch the fleet, and when we think we start to get low, then we'll come up and buy a few more. So I expect to probably get 8 out of that.
What are the cruisers now? Are they Dodges or?
No, they're Fords. They
Fords?
just changed the model again.
All-wheel drive?
Yes, 4-wheel drive. Yes.
Okay, and they're SUVs? Or?
They're SUVs, yeah, they're the small SUV.
Okay.
Wow. And that's a special cost. Special price I give for you.
Yeah, they went on.
Right, they sure did. That's including the full...
No.
No,
that's not including the changeover, the paint, all the wiring. There's so much equipment in a car. I mean, years ago, we didn't put a lot of equipment in cars, and they weren't a lot of money, and they're double since I've been chief. There's a lot of equipment in there.
Yeah. Now, what's the lottery? Who gets the camo car?
Oh, yeah, that's whoever wants to take it out.
Yeah.
We did that to support veterans. It was a thing we did on Veterans Day, and we carried it over to Memorial Day, and the public seems to like it. We were one of the originators of the pink card.
Is that
now,
right?
Everybody's doing it, and I see some departments, they just leave it pink. We just do it during breast cancer awareness. But we also raise money with that card.
Sure.
Do you like our new little stickers we're putting on our car for this year?
Tax stickers?
Pink. Who picked pink? Peter.
Okay.
All right. We got one more.
Is all the
radars,
department, are they all wearing body cameras now, or?
Yes, everyone wears body cameras. That's a recurring cost that's in there.
It's stored for a certain amount.
It goes on the cloud storage, and there's a requirement as to, a statutory requirement as to what we have to store and how long. Some of it's indefinitely, and some of it's 90 days, and then so forth.
radar speed signs, are they the ones that can be moved around?
Yeah, those have been really popular. Well,
Yes, there are.
If it's not your yard, it's in
You got the
front
high
of.
score.
If it's not your yard, it's in front of, they're popular. But they've had an impact, they're slowing people down. And what's nice about these is they allow us to get data in real time, or at least, very soon, as opposed to putting those, dams across the road which get damaged.
I didn't realize they do keep track of the, traffic.
Some more than others, some a little bit more robust, and others are just signs that are some kind of semi-permanent. But when we have problem areas, we put them in folks in your neighborhoods, and there's only a few neighborhoods we have, but we want to get more of those because they work.
The video anything?
No, they don't video anything. Yeah.
You're safe now.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I was trying to get the high score.
Joe?
Finished. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Coming out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know if you should be honored or insulted, but you are the last person for the entire city budget.
All right, that works for me. I'll be Scott Owens from the director of Milford and Park.
Send it back to last Scott.
Yep, thank you. Basically, the budget's the same as last year. The only difference that I made was for the computer amount to add a monitor with it. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as last year.
I don't know if I asked you this before, do you come and get raccoons and animals like that, or?
Usually if the police shoot them, but if you've got like a raccoon in your garbage, all you really need to do is tip the garbage and they'll come out on their own. A lot of times possums are the ones in the garbage, but wildlife, typically we don't, unless it's a public hazard, then we will. Like I've removed raccoons out of tents in on the green when they have the fair on the green.
Okay.
So, but for the most part, if you've got like a raccoon in your attic, you need to contact a wildlife remover or pest control.
I'm in good shape.
I'm okay.
Hmm?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Now this is our third year with partnering with the town of Orange for the fourth year?
Actually, I think it's more like 5.
Has it really been that long? Yeah. I've been on this board too long, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Don't say it.
You're getting away.
Right, you got somebody in mind, right? 10 years since I came up?
Huh?
We should have a party.
Yeah. It's been 10 years, so I guess it's working out pretty well then. I would not have thought it was more than 5. So how many calls do you handle in Orange? Is there a disproportionate amount, or what do you expect?
A lot less than we do in Milford. A lot of the calls from Milford is, I got a raccoon or a possum in my garbage can or in a dumpster, what do I do? But Orange just seems...
Stray cows?
No, that was only in Milford.
Yeah, that's right.
Stray cow. The only odd thing I've ever chased in Orange was sheep. But somebody had like an El Camino that hit the highway, the sheep bounced out and were wandering the highway. So that was fun. You'd be surprised how fast sheep can run.
Yeah, I had 3 of them.
They are quick.
I was going to say something there, but I won't.
So you mostly deal with dogs?
I'm Shepherd.
Dogs, bites, licensing issues, and yeah, but most of our calls are typically dog bites, dogs roaming, my neighbor's dog is defecating on my property, all that type of stuff. But yeah, the main focus is always dogs.
What did you respond to last year, do you know?
Not off the top of my head. Typically about 300 calls in a year we do. Those are the ones that we document. If somebody calls up and says, well, you got puppies, kitties, we don't really document those. But yeah, for the most part, it's upwards to 300. It's gone down from over the past years, but it's still there.
How is the condition of the shelter?
Right now, we're having some repairs done to get it up to speed. So, having the entryway, hallway retiled.
Is that in here, or we taking out of other funds?
That is coming in of operational expenses for public works.
Public
Who's
Works.
charged with maintaining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for your patience.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Okay, wow, we've been 10 days off. And then Peter will send out a follow-up email and we'll confirm the date.
So what's the new date, 19th?
Likely will be Monday, March 18th.
18?
At 5:30.
Yeah, if anyone goes home and has a concern about that date, Peter or myself,
Okay.
we'll find one. But hopefully that will work for everybody. Good, thank you.
Good man.
Motion to recess.
Recess, that's it.
All right. We officially recess until March 7th.
Uh,
Nice to meet you.